first item of business is the introduction of late items. Tonight we have two additions. One is the mayoral appointments. We'll do that before we do the approval of the agenda. And then staff recommendations, page 47 and 48 in your package, we'll put under number 6I, reports. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Motion.
Second motion by Katie, seconded by Sharon. All in favor?
I have a question.
Sure.
If I may, on the agenda, it appears that the motion to approve the minutes of September the 1st was done at the previous meeting.
Is it?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Rich.
We'll remove the under 3. So motion to approve the agenda as amended by Edie and Sharon. All those in favor?
Could I make an addition?
Sure.
I notice under reports, there's no opportunity for Councillor Thompson to report. I'd like to add that.
Oh. Figured that'd start next time, so put that in there somewhere. Councillor Thompson's report. Put under Councillor Tracy's. All right, anything else? Okay. All those in favor? Carried. All right, so the next thing we'll do is the mayoral appointments. So there's a series of them, I've written them down, I'll give you a copy of the count. The first one is to appoint Councillor Thompson as the alternate on OPAC. The second one is to rescind Councillor Tracy's appointment to the health portfolio and to appoint Councillor Thompson in her place. I haven't written out, Kelly, so.
Okay.
The third is to rescind Councillor Reichert's appointment to the youth portfolio and to appoint Councillor Thompson as the rep and to appoint Councillor Reichert as the alternate. The third one is to appoint Councillor Thompson as the alternate to the Trans-Canada Yellowhead Highway Association. And that's it for mayoral appointments. I don't need to second one, that's just my jurisdiction to do. Okay. So moving on to number 3, reading and approving of the minutes of the September 8th regularly scheduled council meeting. Move to approve by Sharon. Seconder?
Second.
Alright. All right, so you guys want to take a look at those and see if there's any errors or omissions? Any errors or omissions? Hearing none, call the question. All those in favor? Carried. And we'll move on to delegations. We have nobody signed up for the informal part, so we'll move on to the formal part. And the first one is the Robson Valley Mountain Bike Association. Mike Hamilton, is he here? So we'll move on to the second one, are the benefits of urban and backyard chickens. Robert Erickson appearing on behalf of Sarah Raw.
Rob.
Raw?
Yep.
Okay, come on up.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Robert Erickson. I'm here this evening speaking on behalf of Ms. Sarah Rao, who just recently sent a letter to the Village Council requesting consideration for revision of current bylaws in regards to the accommodation of urban backyard chickens. The request for bylaw revision is also shared by many other local residents. Sustainable development, self-sustainability, affordability, and the environment are key global issues impacting today's society. As the world participates in numerous paradigm shifts, such as reducing carbon footprints and the reduction of fossil fuels used in the transportation industry, it's important to understand the benefits of grassroots initiatives such as community gardens, farmers markets, and urban backyard chickens, two of which are successful already here in McBride. The idea of local food sustainability is hard to argue with. Locally grown fresh food is valued among many, and local food producers benefit greatly from community support with little or no operating or exporting costs. There's many benefits to raising hens in urban settings, such as improved local food security and the ability to contribute to a just and sustainable food system. The benefits of backyard chickens vastly outweigh the myths regarding disadvantages, and some of these advantages include: 1, the convenience of fresh eggs from our own backyard, free from pesticides and antibiotics, reduces the need to burn fossil fuels by traveling to and from the local grocery store. Chickens reduce organic waste entering into our landfills by consuming leftover household garden and table scraps. Chickens produce organic nitrogen-rich fertilizer, thus reducing the manufacturing of petrochemical substitutes leaching into our precious water supply. Chickens' diet includes bugs and small rodents, thereby reducing the pest population, eliminating the nuisance, and protecting personal backyard gardens from bug infestation as well. Since the Great Recession of 2008-2009, food costs have nearly tripled and in some cases quadrupled, having a serious effect on family food budgets. Egg-producing hens help reduce the financial burden on financially struggling families. Excess egg supply produced from backyard chickens may also be donated to the local food bank, thus reducing their operating costs as well. The educational aspect of raising chickens is beneficial for society and our children by endorsing responsible pet ownership, thus reducing the effects of animal cruelty, promoting the concept of recycling, awareness of nutritional health values, sustainability in the event of an emergency or disaster with independent food sources, and respecting our rural heritage. Some of the unwarranted myths fabricated by naysayers who are opposed to backyard chickens include false assertions that chickens are smelly, noisy, attract pests, increase predator populations, affect water quality, decrease property value, and increase the risk of avian flu. I address these misguided beliefs by informing the public and council that chickens aren't smelly. It's because of improperly cleaned and maintained chicken coops. So the issue is not regarding the chickens as the culprit, it's the owner's responsibility to maintain a clean environment. In regards to the myth that chickens attract pests, there's no evidence to substantiate this theory. In fact, evidence suggests that chickens help control the pet population. The myth that chickens increase predator populations is about as far-fetched as saying other pets, such as cats and small dogs, also pose a threat. The fact remains there's plenty of food sources in the wild to sustain the diet of wild predators, and no evidence of an increase in predator population due to backyard chickens. Saying that urban chickens affect water quality makes about as much sense as saying deer, elk, bear, moose, birds, and all other wild animals affect the water quality. There's really not an ounce of weight to that argument. The avian flu epidemic was initiated by overcrowded and unsanitary large commercial egg-producing operations. This incident could have easily been avoided if communities weren't so dependent on commercial food sources and revised their bylaws accordingly, allowing backyard urban chickens. As for decreasing property values, in today's world that argument is complete and utter nonsense. Our society has already embraced the notion of progressing towards a world of self-sustainability and self-reliance, with the ever-expanding demand for solar wind power, home gardening, energy efficiency, health, nutrition, community gardens, local farmers markets, and urban backyard chickens. The value of a home increases when homeowners integrate these systems and update their properties with the aforementioned upgrades. McBride is in dire need of attracting new families in the community, and what better way to do so than leading by example, attracting the next generation of environmentally conscious individuals. Furthermore, chickens aren't noisy in comparison to other household pets such as barking dogs, cats in heat, or other sentient beings such as wild birds, crows, etc. The presence of roosters is what creates a noise issue and should be a concern for council in regard to restrictions. Hens produce eggs naturally in the absence of roosters. The following BC municipalities have already embraced the concept of backyard chickens and revised their local bylaws to accommodate this growing trend. The City of Vancouver, the City of Victoria, City of Richmond, City of Surrey, City of New Westminster, City of Rosslyn, District of Saanich, District of Oak Bay, Township of Esquimalt, the Town of Gibsons, and the City of North Vancouver. In North Vancouver, residents are allowed up to 8 hens without the need to register at the municipality. North Vancouver City Mayor Daryl Musato quoted in the province newspaper the following excerpt, quote, "Sometimes it, banning backyard coops, is beyond understanding. We in the City of North Vancouver have had excellent results with backyard chickens. And why would you register your chickens? For what purpose? Mayor Musato has a neighbor raising hens 6 doors down the lane from his central Lonsdale home. Mayor Musato says, quote, "It's wonderful, it's never been a problem, and they're the best eggs I've ever eaten." According to Jordan Maynard, who runs Southlands Heritage Farm off of Southwest Marine Drive in Vancouver, he offered his urban farm when he heard Vancouver was contemplating spending $20,000 to build a halfway house for wayward chickens, whether they had escaped or been set loose by board owners. Aside from a couple of chickens that were brought in soon after the backyard chicken bylaw came into effect in 2010, that service has not been needed. Maynard is quoted by saying, "It just hasn't happened anymore. We haven't had any calls in 3 years." Like I said, several municipalities in BC have now regulations that permit the keeping of chickens on residential property. Vancouver amended its bylaws and allowed the keeping of backyard hens, which I just recorded earlier. Coops in Vancouver, now there is going to be some regulations involved, obviously, like anything else. But licensing, as the North Vancouver mayor mentioned, I don't see any issue with that. It just causes, further cost to the taxpayer, and I'm sure that they've set up a lot of programs. They've already got a website online that can be checked out, how people can have a look for care of their chickens, size of coops. It says coops in Vancouver must be between 4 square feet and 10 square feet in size and cannot be kept in front yards nor on apartments or condominium balconies, which makes a lot of sense. So eggs produced by the hens cannot be sold commercially, so it's not a commercial liability, therefore no licenses, etc. involved. I believe it would be a personal benefit also for the food bank, cut back on their costs. Hens, which wouldn't pose a nuisance if properly cared for like any other pet, are ideal that they not only lay eggs, but like I said before, they get rid of bothersome backyard bugs. The municipalities that I just previously listed and mentioned, or only a few from across Canada, either do not explicitly prohibit backyard chickens in their respective animal bylaws, or have embraced the movement by creating specific regulations allowing backyard chickens. These regulations may specify the maximum number of chickens, the size and dimension of the coops, the provisions required by the owner to properly nourish them. While some of these bylaws are silent on whether residential owners can slaughter backyard chickens for the meat, it's generally prohibited as these chickens are meant to be kept for the purposes of local egg production only, and not generally as broiler chickens. Roosters are also typically forbidden. Some cities have opted to test the waters first with pilot projects, typically 1 or 2 years later.
Sorry, your time is up here.
Okay, if I could just, in conclusion, I just propose the Corporation of Village McBride amend, rescind, and or revise the local bylaws to accommodate the allowance of urban backyard chickens. There are numerous other communities in BC and across Canada that I previously mentioned who joined this initiative. In my opinion, it's a wonderful opportunity for McBride to set precedents, leading by example and attracting positive attention and exposure to this beautiful little community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, any questions?
Well, yeah, it was a pretty good presentation, you covered most of it, but I think I'd like to do some kind of poll to the rest of the village to see.
We can do a Facebook poll, I think.
That'll be my suggestion, just to see.
Councillor Thompson.
I think it'd be useful to look at some of the other communities' bylaws and determine what they've gone through already,
I did
even
do
before
that.
doing a poll, just to find out what regulations
I
have
did do
already
that
been.
as well, I sent some to Kelly, and I did look at other other towns, and Nanaimo was one of them as well. I don't know if you mentioned Nanaimo or not, that has amended their bylaws too. So I have looked at some online as well.
Steven?
So this is a popular thing then, is it?
It's becoming popular, yeah.
It is in a lot of urban areas, you bet, but my biggest thing is one, I'm not convinced about the predators coming in. I used to own chickens, and
So did I.
they do come in and take them, and dogs seem to love to chase them. But what we would have to do is have instruct administration to do a report. And just look at some of the different municipalities and bring that back. And then we can submit that as a survey online to local residents to get their input on as well.
Fair enough. I used to own a chicken farm. I've had 50 chickens. I know exactly what it's like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as long as they're properly maintained and everybody, follows along with the proper bylaws, set in place, restrictions, what have you, they're not too much of a problem as long as they're in a safe.
Well,
Cool.
and bylaw enforcement as well.
Sure enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
Would, in case you get the ones that don't do what they're supposed to do.
Like the ones that leave their dogs running around town here, I notice all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, because that all costs the taxpayers as well, right?
You bet.
Well, thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move into number 5, which is unfinished business. Kelly, did you want to update us on the
Yes,
fire inspections?
Mr. Diano said there were very few problems. Most public and commercial buildings were fully compliant with legislation and safety, and some had very minor deficiencies to deal with. We fortunately had a commercial building that had quite a significant, a very significant deficiency, and Mr. Diano is working with them, and they have to do quite an upgrade in the kitchen to keep in mind the safety of their staff and their clientele. He will be back November 4th. He'll be popping in to see anyone who had a minor deficiency. He'll be just popping in to make sure it was followed through on, and if it was a fire extinguisher, that you've got it. And he will be doing the hospital and the Beaverview Lodge on November 3rd. And so he'll be here for the 3rd and the 4th. And he really just wanted to thank everyone. He said people were just great here, and he mentioned Councillor Thompson pointed him in a few directions where he didn't know where he was going. So he really enjoyed his time and meeting everyone here. So yeah, that was it, and that'll be all wrapped up on the 4th.
And that'll make us compliant with all the bylaws.
It will, it brings, it helps our municipal insurance people be very happier with us, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Good. Question?
Councillor Thompson?
So, Mr. Diano indicated that the village would be sending out the reports with regard to the inspections. So I was wondering, as a business owner and others, when will those reports that he created be sent out?
Oh, he didn't let us know that, so they can be sent out anytime. They are, currently, I can have someone start that tomorrow, they're basically sit in the folio now. So I'm very happy to get those mailed out.
Okay. And as a subsequent question, will there be a detailed financial report provided with regard to the new process for fire inspections?
Oh,
In other words, 'cause
absolutely.
there's a travel, I guess, accommodation and
Yes,
other
it's
expenses.
about $2,500 now, $2,250, somewhere in there, but that will be reported out in finance, yes.
Okay.
It's a significant saving for the town. I think you were present at the meeting where we did present
Yeah.
out on the full amounts, yeah.
Yeah, I saw there was a very detailed on the previous, so I was
Yeah.
expecting a similar
So,
for the new.
and absolutely you will receive that.
Thank you.
Okay, any others?
I do, but I'm not gonna say right now.
Okay.
I will eventually.
Alrighty, so we'll move on to item B, 3B, and that's the wood exchange program that I asked staff to look into.
Yes, So there is a provincial wood stove exchange program. What it does is allows citizens to trade out a less efficient wood stove and receive compensation or support for that process. So some of the examples would be the old barrel stoves, non-EPA certified wood stoves, and homemade stoves or fireplaces that do not have the EPA insert in them. It's a program that the village or any not-for-profit group in the community can participate in. October 9th was the sign up for this year, but many people do it in the spring months because that is when people can take advantage of sales on wood stoves and stuff. They have to go on sale in the late spring, the early summer. So it is something that, the village may want to consider, whether they want to offer that program here, or it may be something that another not-for-profit in the community would like to bring in and manage that program on behalf of the province.
These wood stoves, I know the pellet stoves, if you have them, you change a brand new pellet stove, like the old one we had buy a brand new one, you have to pay a permit on that, inspection permit,
Yes, that's correct.
$125. So I wonder if they have to do that with these wood stoves, it must be all the same then.
Well,
Yes.
according to the information, there are some areas that have actually, if the municipality levies a charge on that, they actually remove those charges, but I don't know if ours would be done under a village or
Ours-
regional district.
Yes, it is, and it's a regional district.
So we'd have to approach
Yes.
them
So
for it.
we're gonna have to,
Okay. Well, I think it's worth taking a look into, maybe what we could get you to do is to contact Prince George, because I know that they are under this program.
Mhm.
I don't know, should we go outside and make sure everything's okay? Yeah, maybe come back with that, you can look at the costs of it and that kind of stuff too, and then we can put it out there and see if maybe a local
Mhm.
not-for-profit would be worth doing it,
Yeah.
because it would improve air quality and efficiency, so. Alrighty, we'll move on now to reports. And I do have one. Alright, so, Mayor's report. Over the last several weeks, I've spent the bulk of my time working with BA Blackwell and Susan Muckley on regarding community forest issues. On September 13th, I attended a meeting with Raj Basaran of BKB Cedar to discuss his concerns at his cedar mill. On September 18th, I attended the Geopark conference call along with Councillor Tracy and the manager of the Chamber of Commerce. The regional district representative was also attended on the call. From Sunday, September 21st to Friday, September 25th, I attended UBCM with Councillor Reichart. We spoke with the Minister of Education regarding concerns over the possible closure of one of our schools. See Councillor Reichert's report in your agenda for more information. She details it out quite well. Minister Bond, of course, attended with us, and we're waiting for a report to be released on November 2nd. We also met with the Ministry of Forest Lands and Natural Resources, again along with Minister Bond. We updated the Ministry of Forests on the current status of the community forest and the plans from BA Blackwell and Susan Muckley and that they've been engaged to review the governance, managerial, financial, and operational activities of the community forest. They were pleased and in agreement with the direction. We also spent time discussing the carrier proposal. All in all, the two were very productive meetings, and thank you to Minister Bond for attending. I also attended many sessions moving forward with First Nations, small talk forum, politics, accountability, and the future of open meetings, NCLGA luncheon, liability and risk management for elected officials, and a session on off-road vehicles. I also attended small seminars put on the provincial government in the trade show. The most beneficial one I attended was investing in your community infrastructure planning grant and small communities fund. I was provided with a list of funding available and a table of municipalities outlining which funding has been accessed and which funds haven't. I forwarded the information to the CAO for follow-up, and we'll be arranging a meeting with the ministry staff to go over funding priorities with council. I also met numerous delegates. One of the topics of discussion was culling animals within municipal limits. Elkford was the pilot project for the culling its deer population, and there's currently talk on piloting transporting animals as opposed to culling. So I'll be following up with a representative from Elkford to bring forward their information to council for discussion. On September 30th, I attended the MCFC Public Information Session along with Susan Muckley, B.A. Blackwell, and Associates. Jim Sale, the Acting District Manager of the Ministry of Land and Forest, Ministry of Forest, Land and Natural Resources Operations, was available via text. Over 100 citizens attended to get information on the current cut control situation, plans for the review of the community forest, and were able to ask questions and get the answers they were seeking. The meeting was taped and has been placed on the MCFC website and shared via Facebook, so those who weren't able to attend could view the meeting. To date, we've had really positive feedback. On October 1st, I attended the Robson Valley Region Steering Committee meeting in council chambers to review the annual report and discuss renewing the marketing coordinator contract for another year. The committee suggested that another year was in order as the marketing coordinator has just gotten the wind under her wings, and the committee's recommendation has been forwarded to the Regional District Board of Directors for a decision. Also discussed the possibilities, parameters, and benefits of the hotel room tax, which is now renamed to MRDT, Municipal Regional District Tax. Vailmont's EDO briefed the group on the benefits Vailmont has received. My recommendation would be to strike a working group to look into the tax, how it's structured, and ascertain whether it would be good for McBride. Vailmont's EDO would be willing to come and speak with council. Tonight I attended the Ancient Cedar Forest meeting. I'll follow up more with it in next report, but they're going to be forwarding, they're in the public consultation process. They have a quick summary of the project, and responses are due by November 2nd. So I've asked them to forward a digital copy of their presentation and contact information so that citizens can submit whatever they want to on the proposal. And we'll be bringing it forward at next council meeting to address a letter of support. And then on top of that, I just continue to meet with citizens on a variety of topic matters. So, Councillor, yeah, it's been busy. Councillor Bazazin,
Yes.
you're next.
Okay, we sent two members of the staff here to go down to water distribution. They both passed their test, and the third one will be going down for the wastewater treatment in October. Summer wrap-up was pretty well all done. The Grasses Park, Village Office, Emergency Center, and Allison Cemetery, all the grass is cut, all the flushing and winter rights and hydrants is done. They took down and put away for winter the flower pots and garbage cans off Main. Ditching on Dominion Street is done. They were finished repairing holes in streets and alleys. They leveled all the headstones that need to be leveled. They're removing sea cans, I guess that's done too, they were told me, from the old yard. And cleaning up all the stuff from the old yard, that's all done, and grading of dump and watershed roads was done. CN Underpass, I don't know what's happening there. I talked to the guy that was supposed to be doing the contract, and his wife told me that he was talking to them and they got no money, so that's going to be on hold until probably next year. But I'm going to be trying to get a hold of him next week for the next meeting, and I got his number and see what the heck's what's really going on there. He should have phoned us if he's going to do anything about it, because he has their numbers and emails. Okay, so I gotta get onto that. If not, they prolonged it. Equipment hire list. They made a list there for everybody in town or out of town, I guess. Everybody's on a list, and the way I understood it, if one gets called and he doesn't show up, it goes down to which is good for everybody. Everybody's gonna get a little bit of the pie, I think. It's equal to everybody. And that's good there, I figure. Upcoming equipment auction. They viewed at $700 First Avenue, the Old Public Works Yard, on Thursday, October the 15th, from 12 to 3 o'clock, 3 p.m. Offers must be submitted in a sealed envelope marked Equipment Bid 2015 on Monday, October 19th, before noon. And you can see the on the Facebook. It'll be on Facebook and the website details. It was last Thursday I went to that turkey dinner at the Elks.
Harvest dinner?
Fantastic. There was over 260 people between both dinners, so there's been a lot of support showing. And then I was told they sold over 700 apple pies.
They were delicious.
Yeah, we got 10. But no, I found out that more people are, I was kind of leery 4 or 5 years ago when we were counselors and we went to the first meeting they had at the Elks, and they brought this First Avenue new library museum, right, the building from Tom Ryan, and I was kind of leery that probably would get no support. But now I found out the last 4 years, 3 years, there's more support out there. That's just not the town, that's everybody. So everybody would like, you know, they could use the library. And the tourist people can use it, especially people from Germany or whatever. They got Skype and the websites and all that. So I'm all for it, and I'll hope they got the ball turning, the wheels turning, and it's gonna be success. Eventually they'll get their library, and I'm very proud of the staff and the people that volunteered and the board and the trustees. They did a fantastic job, and I want to thank them very much. That's my report. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
next on the list, Councillor Reichardt.
Okay, well, mine's in the agenda, so I'm not going to read through the whole thing. It's already in there. Meetings with Blackwell as well. September 11th, I was at NDIT and OBAC in Prince George. September 13th, I did a tour of BKBC here with Mayor Martin. September 20th to the 25th, I was at UBCM. Regarding the meeting with Minister of Education, I've since spoken to a few people, and we are keeping our secretary at the elementary school, as we are keeping a counselor there as well.
Is that just for this year?
So far. But we were told last year he was not going to be here at all. And I talked to him actually the other day, and he is here in doing both schools as well. So. And September 30th, public meeting for Community Forest. And this week I have Regional District and Regional District and OBAC. And tomorrow I have Robson Valley Community Center Management Committee meeting. That's my report.
Councillor Tracy?
Excellent.
Okay, been busy with meetings, as you all have heard. Kelly and I have been busy with the union bargaining, and went to a chambers meeting, the Gerald Park, library, and pie making. Now that was an experience for me. And the youth meeting, community foundation grants, MCFC meeting, and beautiful potatoes at the open garden, gate garden, and plenty. It's very, that's about all for me.
Councillor Thompson?
Thank you for adding me to the agenda. First of all, I want to thank the residents of McBride who came out in great numbers at the election, 53% at the by-election, and returning to McBride Village Council for the fourth term with a strong mandate. I want to thank all the candidates that ran in the by-election, and I look forward to working for the residents of McBride and moving forward. I took my official oath of office this morning at 10 a.m. And in the spirit of moving forward, I'd like to recognize that for a period of time following the general election, I posted a blog in which I post questions and voice concerns about the council's operations and activities. And in my initial blog, I used an audio clip of Mayor Martin and Councillor Bezanson. Some found these clips to be offensive. I admit they may have been unnecessary, and I'd like to openly apologize in council to Mayor Martin and Councillor Bezanson, and I hope they will accept my apologies moving forward. I commit to the residents of McBride that I'll work hard on your behalf, and I welcome your ideas and comments by phone, text, email, or in person. And I thank again the residents of McBride for the confidence and trust that they placed in me as a new councillor. Having not been in council until 10 o'clock this morning. I don't have a lot of other things to report, but I do note and I do want to recognize the work that I do with the Rural Advisory Council and submit for the record the news release that was provided by the Rural Advisory Council with regard to the rural dividend, $75 million to be available for communities under 25,000 people, and there will be additional work done on that to access those funds moving forward. Our next meeting of the Rural Advisory Council is Thursday and Friday in the Lower Mainland. That's all I have to report at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, just a question for you, Rick. With the Rural Advisory Committee, is your travel and stuff paid by the committee itself?
That is all covered by the committee.
All covered by the committee? Okay, so we don't have to worry about it for budget considerations?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It's independent of council. It is a provincial appointment.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty, moving on to administration report.
Thank you. Our equipment is well touched on. Our equipment hire list is now turning into a wonderful Excel sheet. We had good response from a number of the people that supply equipment or services in that area from the community. So it will be established in an Excel sheet where the guys can look for the type of equipment they need and follow down and have the call-out list right there. Excuse me. I've been working with Kelly Mortensen the last week. Our little airport does need some work done with it. And so he and I are working together to make sure that we can capture the necessities and that we can budget for this for the upcoming years. There's a couple of small maintenance things, but there is the runway ceiling has to be done again. This has to be looked at. So we're looking at that and getting our numbers together. Again, Mr. Diano is here and he will be returning November 3rd and 4th. And that will be the follow-up and that will be our end of our doing business with him. We've reviewed the permissive tax exemption bylaw, which I believe is on the agenda for this evening. And that is, of course, the one that we support our local churches by waiving taxes, land taxes for them. We've had a review and the council policy and procedure. That's coming for its fourth and final reading this evening. And we've been reviewing, it started out with a review while working with CLAC for travel expenses. And then we decided just to look at all of that piece, and that will be submitted for council's consideration at the next meeting. I continue to work very closely with council, assist where I can, do agendas, minutes, reports, or bits of research as ideas and opportunities come up. I really want to commend the staff. Not only are they a great staff, but they've been very dedicated to their professional development. Sherry has completed her ICBC training. She has completed her motor vehicle training with brilliant marks. Both Matt and Travis have done their level 1, 2, water training in 3, and they both did exceptionally well. I am dedicating myself to the study of governance law, which I have to tell you is incredibly boring and lots of reading, but I'm getting through it. And I'm also working closely with our pension people and doing their course of training for our municipal pension plan so that we can really support our staff going forward and making sure they have the pension in place that they need. And I attended Prince George 2 weeks ago and did a 2-day training, which I received a scholarship for, which is for our emergency operations center training. It was very different training for me. It was very exciting. I have no idea if I passed the test. I'm sure I'll hear in the next 2 weeks. but it was a wonderful opportunity, and I really want to thank Mr. Kelly, Bob Kelly, and the Prince George Fire Group, because they're the ones who provided a scholarship for me for it. So it was a wonderful opportunity, and I really felt I learned a lot to bring back to the community. We've been continuing to work on our leases. So as we know, I made a recommendation for Robson Valley Dental, and their lease is done. We've met with the folks at the Whistle Stop, the Info Center, because a number of the leases are coming up this December. And I'm hoping to meet with with Donna, who works at the Beanery, the owner of the Beanery there. We continue to work as a team, so if finance needs help, we pitch in, we help where we can here. I still continue to wait on our Northern Health engineer so that we can confirm and finalize our improved water plan. And they're happy with what we've submitted, but there is a piece that he needs to attend in, or that we actually have to meet about. And that is like the going forward piece. What is this going to look like? I liaison with the regional district as needed. The building inspector, Mr. Simmons, our approving officer, Ministry of Finance, other local governance, just, sort of day-to-day doing business. My door is almost always open if a resident wants to pop in, if they have a challenge, or if they want to bring coffee or donuts, that's all welcome too. So, but yeah, it's very seldom you'll see my doors closed, and I always welcome, I love a visit from people to know what's going on. We are finalizing, getting very close to finalizing our bargaining with the Christian Labour Association of Canada. And we look forward to be able to report out of that fully within the next month or so. Any questions or?
The airport,
Yes?
Kelly, what is he gonna do, just fill up the cracks with oil and sand?
No.
They're gonna pave everything, or?
No, it's not a paving. What it is 3 years ago, they did patches, so it's a special sealant that goes on.
Okay.
And so they did test run for our climate, so we've got little squares marked there, and which has held up the best.
Yeah.
So it's down to 2 of them. And so what'll happen is Kelly Mortensen will get prices on all of this. The other piece of maintenance that has to be done is the sides of the runway have to be cleared back and weed and grass free. It's part of Navigation Canada's requirements. So we'll be doing that in the spring. And then there's some little bits and pieces around the airport itself, like one of the fuel buildings. And the sight line, as the planes come in, the trees have grown up now,
Yeah.
and they have to be cleared down to a certain height. So, so not a huge amount of stuff, but stuff we'll want to be looking at doing sooner rather
So
than
can we
later.
get local people to do that?
To do the ceiling of the,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd imagine Kelly would do it himself. It's the product we'd have to buy.
Yeah.
And certainly I know he is looking at, I believe he was going to approach Mr. Shaw at the school about perhaps the students, because they sell firewood.
Yeah.
They might want to do the clearing there for the sight lines and stuff, and it's sort of a win-win. So, but he hasn't reported back on that.
You should check that list I gave you too, because there was some type of funding there for
Airports, okay, good.
Okay, is that everything? Rick?
Kelly, just a question, you indicated with the fire inspections that after the November 3rd and 4th, that would be the quote end of doing business with him, I assume Mr. Diano. Is fire inspections an ongoing process?
It will be, now that we're caught up, Rick, so everybody in town will be done. Then we've got in our bylaws, and as with the fire services folks too. So there are some buildings that have to be done annually. That would be the hospital, I believe possibly the seniors' homes. But he's got a list, so we won't, what we will probably do, or my recommendation, will be that we follow the advice and the guidance that was given to us some years ago, and that we look at a staff member getting this training to do it. Having said that, I mean, that of course is a call for you guys to make. when it comes due. Mr. Diana was incredibly reasonable and very professional, and certainly got through what he needed to get through for us. So I think that's probably something you guys will want to look at next year. And then our next rota would be there's one have to be done annually, some are done every 3 years, but the majority of businesses are only done every 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, finance report, it's actually, it isn't revenue and expenditures, it's the checklisting report, so anything to report out there, Enid?
The only that I've participated in the election on the 19th, the tax sale on the 28th, so September was pretty chaotic for me. So if there's any questions on the checklistings, don't hesitate to come in and ask. I can explain to you what's happened. Does he have one right now?
I just have one
Yeah.
question now, and perhaps it's one that we'll get a report on later, but the election expenses,
Yes.
just if you could provide at some point clarification on how election expenses relate to salaries on election days, for example. Like, I'm a little confused.
Nobody got salaries, it was a stipend, so it's not paid out of salaries. And next, at the end of the month, you'll get revenue expenses, and the expenses for the election will be in there.
Okay.
So you're saying they got paid by hourly rate, correct?
No, they didn't get paid an hourly, it was just a flat stipend,
Oh,
so
okay.
much per day.
Oh, okay.
So if I could follow up, so does that affect their salaries for a day?
No,
Or so is it kind of double?
if they're on salary, they got paid salary. If it was over and above their salary, then they got a stipend.
Okay. And that'll be reflected in a future report?
It will be in your revenue expense.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Alrighty, so we've got the public works in there, won't bother to go through it because Ralph's pretty much done it already.
Mhm.
Other reports, administration, we have a big report in here about the library museum project.
Okay, this was, Mayor Martin had asked me to do some research on and supply material as to the library. Thank you, library folks. What we were looking at specifically was the bylaw that had been created, and it's had its readings. It's had a public hearing, it's 733, I believe. However, it's sort of just hanging on our books. And one of the things that there'd been some misunderstanding about was whether it had to be rezoned or not. I think Mr. LaFleur had indicated that that property on Main here wouldn't have to be rezoned, and that was inaccurate. I'm not sure where he got that information from. I talked with Mr. Simmons, our approving officer. Should that go forward, we would have to look at rezoning that. Having said that, there's also, in speaking with Mr. Simmons, this bylaw, because there were significant changes after the public hearing, that neither Mr. Simmons nor myself feel that that bylaw really stands as it did. One of the recommendations was that we get rid of that bylaw and that we start with a clean slate from scratch. The other recommendation is that it's two, it's sort of what you guys want to do. We can leave it there, but it would have to go back to a public hearing because enough changes were made to it after the public hearing that it isn't a fair practice to proceed with it the way it is. As it stands now, it sits on our books, and justly so. Past council had said we don't rezone property unless we know the end result. So it is awaiting either the purchase of the building or a final decision on that property. So that's where we stand with that bylaw, Mayor Martin. Yeah.
One of the problems besides the amendment after the public hearing is that if the library museum group is obviously moving forward at the regional district level, and they'll come back with a full report, including the taxation of it. We've had several discussions on it, and I'm not too sure on the timeline, but I know they're working on it now. My indication would be that we just rescind the whole thing and start from scratch once the regional district comes forward with its report, and then go from there. So I'd like to make a motion that we rescind the entire bylaw.
The easy, Madam Mayor, probably the cleanest way to do it is to actually bring it for its last reading, and then you vote it down.
Okay.
You defeat it,
Okay.
and we can do that at the next meeting, because I didn't have it printed off for this one. And that keeps it, like Mr. Simmons has explained, that keeps it very clean, and it's done, it's defeated, and then we can go ahead and create after that. So then we're not worrying about amendments or referring back to,
Okay.
just, yeah. So I can absolutely have that for everyone's consideration, for our 27th meeting.
You're saying they're looking into it and they'll let us know pretty quick?
Yeah, there's a whole report being done on absolutely everything, start to finish, all the,
We'll hear from them first, then we'll make up our minds.
yeah, well,
Okay.
it will have to go to public,
Yeah, that's fine.
because it's a regional district service and not necessarily a village McBride service.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll come forward at the next meeting then?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the other one was the Robson Valley Marketing Coordinator. I think I basically touched on that one.
Yeah,
As I attended that one, like I said, that one's going to the regional district table as well. I believe Sharon will be there for that one this coming week. All right, okay, so can I get a motion to receive the reports for information only?
Move to receive.
Moved to receive by Sharon, seconded. Eric? All in favor? Carried? And we'll move on to I, which is the staff recommendations. The first one is on, I lost my page. What did I say they were, 87?
and yeah, the municipal and regional district tax program.
Okay, so,
87?
oh, that's 32, that's another one.
Oh, no, 47, 48.
47, 48, there we go.
Okay.
Actually, and 32 as well, so we'll have, there's more to that. Actually, that one's coming forward anyway, so we'll deal with that one. All right, so on page 47, the report is on asset management, planning program, ministry, community support, and cultural development. Did you want to address that one, Kelly?
I've lost mine. I've got too many papers here. Thank you. So this is a matching grant opportunity. Our deadline is the 13th of November, so if we want to move on it, we should be moving on it very soon. However, it's quite a large one, and we are thinking that what we need to do is we have to actually have a concrete plan to submit for this grant. We need to do focus on it, and that's something the council will probably want to look at, and then direct us to go ahead and work for it. The things that are eligible are our water distribution, sewage collection systems, information technology systems, the fleet vehicles that the village uses, parks and civic facilities. So it's a wonderful opportunity for you guys to look at your plan and to do a focus on this. Right now, there is nothing in the plan that really fits to this, because we're doing other grant writing for our storm and sewer drains. So it's just an opportunity for you guys to maybe focus on us getting this.
Do they have a revolving deadline?
No,
So it's
What do you mean?
annually
it's
or
annual.
annual? So the next one will be about this time next year?
Yeah. And you can apply in advance for it though, but yeah.
What about our budget?
You would have to consider that in the budget, it wasn't considered in this budget, yes, that's correct. So that's something that's like, that's the whole plan, work the plan with that and then looking at the budget and where you wanna focus that on.
Are they talking for next year?
Yes,
Not yet.
2016, that's correct.
Okay. Another line item for your budget?
Yeah,
If I could get clarification, is the November 13th, 2015 deadline for 2016
for
grant?
2016, yeah.
So we wouldn't even be.
I mean, we could, we could certainly try, but it's gonna be quite tight,
Yeah, it's what you would be applying for.
yeah.
So I'm just trying to clarify mine. So what you're suggesting or the recommendation is that we actually apply in 2016 for a 2017 grant?
Correct.
Still be a lot of work that need to be done by staff in order to
Yeah.
meet that deadline.
It may be doable, but it's gonna be pretty crazy, because we're pulling together the huge infrastructure grant right now for the sewer and storm drains lines.
That's quite a bit of money too there, isn't it?
It is.
That one's mine.
Okay. Again, Mayor Martin had touched on the municipal and regional district tax program. And we think that we should be working on it, but our recommendation is that the council strike a committee, a working committee, to look at this, and that we could, the staff is there to assist you guys or work with you on it. And it's probably very important that you look at, other stakeholders in the community and have them part of that. So that's our recommendation on the MRDT.
So we're gonna have to come up with a plan on how we're going to do the MRDT, and we're gonna do that. So we've got two things going on here, so let's do one at a time. The first one on the asset management planning.
Yes?
The recommendation is that village administration recommends that council budget for the asset management planning for 2016, determine a focus for this planning and direct staff to apply for the 2016 asset management planning program. And that would be effective for the 2017. Do I need a motion for that, or just a recommendation to?
That's just your direction, yeah.
All right, so is everybody in favor of directing staff to do that? All right, so we'll direct staff on that recommendation, Kelly. Okay, then going to the municipal and regional tax program, which is the one I touched on. Pardon me?
Page 32.
Yeah, I got it here. So we're gonna have to figure out a process to take this one and gather support from a local accommodation, so we'll need to get a package together, look into it and bring that forward. I think we should strike a working group on that one too, because that's gonna be quite a lot of work just to get it together, just so that people can have input on it. So we should probably strike a working group on the municipal and regional district tax program. The hotel tax was a much better name, it's much easier. So let's give you direction to come forward with striking the working group on that one too.
So I'm confused, so you're striking a working group this evening?
No, let's bring it forward and identify some stakeholders, key stakeholders.
Okay.
Have a chat with the chamber, and then work together with them on just bringing it forward so that there is public consultation on the tax and the benefits, and then we can invite the EDO from Valemont once we get to that point. Okay.
Would it not be useful to involve the regional district in that discussion also, because many of our accommodations are outside of the village of McBride and therefore would not be subject to this tax?
I think they would be part of the stakeholder group, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because it's
We
now
need
the municipal regional district
So, yeah.
tax.
Yeah. Municipal and regional district.
Yeah.
Yeah. you know. All right, so, that takes care of the two. Now, on page 48, is that part of page 47? Just a continuation on like page 2 of it?
Mhm.
Okay. So I don't have to worry about that one then. Alrighty. Next item. Going into correspondence requiring action. So we have several proclamations there.
Yes, requests for
But we actually don't do proclamations, and that's something that we need to review as part of our procedure prior to being able to do proclamations, so we can't really do proclamations at
So
this
what
point
is
in
your
time.
direction with those two pieces of correspondence?
Thank you for their, let them know that the village doesn't do proclamations, but we will be, and then bring up proclamations forward for review, and then council can decide whether or not getting into proclamations is something that council wishes to do. Because there's usually a ton of them.
Okay.
And then the other ones, we have 2 letters here from Mike Fraser. Let me just find them. On 58 and 59. And once again, I'll respond to Mr. Fraser's letters. Under information, we have several things under their information. Is there anything anybody wants to bring up? No? Okay. You know, the letter of receipt is outgoing, an invitation to council on the chickens. And then we get into motions. Bylaws, permits, and policies, number 9. So I have these lined up beside, just in case we need them. All right, so 9A is a motion that the Village of McBride Cemetery Regulation Bylaw number 760, 2015 be given its 4th and final reading, considered and adopted. And I have copies of them here because we didn't include them, Rick, because they were running last week. You got your copies? Okay, great. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Sharon, seconded. Katie? You guys are so quiet tonight.
Noah's quiet.
Any comments or questions? No, hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. A motion that the Village of McBride rescind its cemetery bylaw number 567 from 1997. Sharon Denidi. All in favor? Carried. Item C, a motion that council procedure bylaw number 759 and Schedule A, the agenda, be given its 4th and final reading, considered and adopted. Moved by Edie. Seconded. Minute by tonight. Any comments or concerns?
Yes. At this point, we're just letting about the information only in the agendas, so we're not carrying around cinder blocks every other Tuesday.
What, you don't like 100-page
No.
agendas?
Well, no, we're wasting an entire tree every second Tuesday.
Worth money now, trees.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I don't think we really have any procedures on exactly what goes in as information and not. I think it's just been stuff that's forwarded, we figured is, of
Well, we
public
could put it in a
interest.
binder like other communities do, right, and have it on the front counter, people could look at it, as opposed to having, and really, all of this every other week for every single one of us. That's what,
You can
Kind
still
of
have one
ridiculous.
paper of everything that's in that binder,
Okay,
like an information sheet, and
Right.
then if you wanna see it, then you can see it.
then we can put the information sheet into the agenda and not the actual information itself.
Yeah.
right,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, we don't need a motion for that because we don't have a procedure on it, but we can do that. Okay,
Yes.
Would the information still be online?
No, it's at the front counter, it's information only for council.
One printed copy available. Okay, anything else?
That was good.
All right, call the question then, all those in favor? Carried. And we're on D now, right? Motion that policy AD-01 be rescinded and replaced with policy AD-01.1. So is that two different motions that I need? No, no one? All right, can I get a mover and a shaker? Move. Seconded?
Second.
Okay, any comments or concerns on that one? No? All the question, all those in favor? Carried. And then the next one is a motion that council procedure bylaw number 638 and schedule A agenda be rescinded. Should have done that one with the other one.
Move.
Second, 80.
Yeah.
Any comments on that one? No? All in favor? Carried. And down to a motion that the permissive tax exemption bylaw number 761, 2016 be given its first, second, and third reading. Girls again. Now, my comment on that one is we've switched our process from a 1-year policy to a 5-year exemption,
Yes,
right?
and that was in discussion with BC Assessments. The other thing you will notice that was brought to our attention is we can only grant exemption to the lot or the property that the church itself is on and the gathering place, which had been the case for most of them. The Catholic diocese was getting exemption on the mounts as well, so we had to change that to be in accordance with the assessment. So that's the one change, and the change that we have at their request gone for the longer period of time instead of doing it every year.
And did we notify the Catholic Church that there has been a change?
Well, no, because we haven't finished. As soon as the bylaw is accepted at its fourth reading, then the letter will go on.
Okay.
Can you just check that, because I think it's only been the church in the past.
Oh, I did check
No,
it.
yeah.
It was all 3 lots. Yeah, so,
That's been for the last 3 years or so.
yeah, so you know, and it's not that, I don't think BC Assessment's going after them or anything, but it was brought to our attention that we don't have the right to make that exemption. Okay.
Anything else?
If people can apply to the village for exemption, and the village has the opportunity to accept or deny their.
If you do it for one, you should do it for others.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, call the question then, all in favor? Carried. Now we're on to new business. The Ross Valley Music Society requests for a letter of support on page 87 of your agenda.
Excuse me.
All right, so this is a letter of support from the Music Society to include in their Heritage Canada grant. It's due on September 30th. However, we're not having the meeting till October 13th, so they'll forward the letter to Heritage Canada. So does anybody want to comment or make a motion? A motion to make a letter of support?
Sorry.
So by Edie, seconder, Sharon. Any other comments? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried. Next one is the Lakes District Maintenance, request for a letter of support and collaboration on page 88. So on this one there, LDM is just looking for cooperation on which, well, areas that we can cooperate off the top of his head. It's lending of equipment both ways, supplying brine, weekly communication between our lead hand, I guess it would be. And himself, would that be a meeting that you would attend, Kel?
No.
So can I get a motion?
I was talking to him today, this, when Super Peterson,
I need a motion.
oh, I'm sorry. A motion.
So, a motion to collaborate with LDM.
Yes.
Actually have to have a discussion and on collaboration, right?
Yes.
Okay, so motion by Ralph, second by Sharon. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, like I said there, sorry, I was talking to Mr. Peterson there, and there's gonna be the RCMP and fire chief, I guess, just, and myself, maybe a couple other groups, just to see how we're working together with everybody in the village.
This letter is specifically
Just
just,
us?
this letter is specifically to state to his supervisors, on the Ministry of Transport, that they are working in a collaborative way with the village. So it's nothing to do
No,
with the
okay,
meeting you're going to.
but no, yeah, I know what you're saying
Yeah.
there. We've been working with them for the last few years, and
Mhm,
they
mhm.
borrow their stuff, and we borrow their stuff, and no problem with that.
Only thing is liability, right?
Well, yeah. But it seemed they had before they had an agreement with them. So,
A written agreement?
I don't know. That's the way I understood it. But when we plow down by the high school,
They would have a written agreement.
Well, I guess that's something that we can discuss with them, to see if
and
they
they
did.
did the one over the other side.
Okay. So any prior written agreements, okay.
I can ask them.
Yeah, that's something that they have to bring up.
Yeah.
And then address any liability issues that we have. Okay, any other comments? Councilor Thompson?
So this is a request for a letter outlining collaboration that the village has done with LDM in the past.
That's correct.
It's not a commitment for future collaboration, it's
That's
simply
correct.
a letter stating this is how we've collaborated.
Exactly.
Why would they need one in the past and not going forward?
Because they report out quarterly too, so that they're reporting out on their last year's work just like we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is just a letter, then we don't
Yes.
need to meet and discuss with them?
No, it's just, it's a letter for their reporting.
Okay, so, would have to amend the motion then? Just to send a letter?
Yeah.
Okay, and then using the wording that they have in there.
Mhm.
All right, so, I guess with this, I'd have to vote on the original motion, defeat it, and then vote on the second, on the amended motion, correct? Okay, so on the motion to, have a discussion on working collaboratively with LDM, we'll move to rescind that one. Is that what I need to do, Kelly? Move to rescind?
I don't have that written down as a motion, I have it to send a letter of support outlining collaboration, I don't have anything about
Okay,
that, so maybe I misunderstood the motion.
no, that's fine,
Okay,
outlining support, okay.
Just do a friendly amendment.
yeah.
It's almost not to do friendly amendments. Amendment is an amendment. All right, so we'll amend that to the motion to send a letter outlining, the ways in which we work collaboratively with LDM. So mover and a seconder, we'll do Ralph and Sharon again? Sure. Okay. Call the question, all in favor? Carried? tell him getting fired?
Mhm.
The next one on page 89 is Robbins Valley Tourism request for the implementation of signage to mark the business loop through McBride. And it's kind of a two-part thing. One is the business loop, and I believe the other one is to address overnight camping.
Yes,
Signs.
that's correct. Mhm.
So we'll need, what is it they want? Do they want letter of support again? Or, I didn't highlight, that was my fault.
I think they're just wanting to present the idea to us, and if we're supportive of it, then we'll work together going forward for the signage for next year, for the next season, yes.
Oh, I think it's a good idea.
Mhm.
Okay. Edie
Mhm.
and Sharon? Any other comments on that? So, I guess we'll talk with them about whether they want to, we'll need to decide about no overnight parking, or camping overnight altogether, or please limit your stay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I seen them parked right out in front of the museum there for 2 days with the motorhomes,
I mean, park right here too.
you know?
Yeah, we'll have to include in next year's budget probably an item to
Signage.
pick up the signage that we need for no overnight parking. Okay. Any other comments on that one? Okay, call the question, all in favor? Carried. And then the last one, What's Up Education, request for partnership in supplying the venue for upcoming diversity and anti-bullying project.
Mhm. So we received a call, and Karen and I are very happy to volunteer for this, to volunteer where needed to help this happen. And they bring it's like a day that talks about, there's all sorts of booths. They'll be inviting other local community groups that may have an interest in this. There's going to be games and fun things. And we talked to Terry about possibly hosting it in the community center, which is a very nice space for that sort of thing. So there's so basically, because that does not cost the village anything, we can support this group without a cost attached to it, other than our time, and both Karen and I said we'd be happy to volunteer our time for it. The one thing that is coming to council is they play a game. It's sort of like leader Jeopardy, and so you get to line up, and when you win, you get to contribute $100 towards a charity of your choice. And so you get like Jeopardy type questions, like that sounds like, and yeah, it sounds quite fun. So and they're looking at February, end February for this event.
All right, but it would have to go to the regional district group.
Mhm.
So we should forward this application to them and make sure that,
Well, no, the process is we book the room for ourselves because we're hosting for them.
we would still need to go to the regional.
Yeah, so
district
we
group.
do that, yeah, so there's a process in place for that. Glenda looks after that,
Okay,
yeah.
so, we'll forward it to, I guess, Councilor Reichert, because you're on that group.
I believe I have it all.
You have it all, okay.
I spoke directly to Sean Peters
Mhm.
several times over the past year. He's done this program and similar programs in various
Yeah.
areas with great success. They did a similar program at the high school here last year. And so, yeah, I spoke to him in great lengths about it, so I do have this information, I hope.
Okay. So, has there been anything like already going forward to the regional district to make sure that it's booked and the groups,
No, it's- That's fine.
that part's fine? We just tell Terry? Okay. I thought we had to ask and not tell, but,
No,
Oh, we
we
do
book
book it,
it,
right?
it's
We
like
do
any
book
other
it.
user,
okay,
yeah.
all right,
But just for clarification, I think
sure.
it's really up to the management committee to determine whether they would waive the fees for that.
Right.
But since there aren't really
Oh.
any fees,
Yeah,
because it is your prerogative, I would still send a request through the management committee for use of the facility on that date at no charge.
can I send that to you, Rick, or would it be
Send
better
it
go to
to-
No,
Terry?
send it to Sharon.
Send it Sharon?
Send it to me, I can forward it to Terry,
Management
that's fine.
committee.
And, sorry, waive the, what was it, Rick?
To waive the user fees, but they're,
But when we're using,
it's,
when we're using it, there is no user fee, right?
right, just for clarity,
And
they
so we
will,
would be.
so they would
actually
simply be
donating space
approving
for
the
them, so
use
there
of the
wouldn't be-
hall without charge.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's the issues around insurance and liability that still need to be addressed.
So we'll put that in your capable hands then?
That's perfectly fine, thank
So Sharon will follow up on that one. Alrighty, and I don't think we have anything else to add to the agenda, so I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
you. Move to adjourn.
I second it.
8:50. Alrighty, thanks everyone for coming